Let's go back in time, way back, to a period before we really had any clue what the different parts of our brain were for. We're talking the mid-19th century, and a single, absolutely horrific accident is about to give the world a lesson it never forgot about who we are. This is the unbelievable story of Phineas Gage.
Okay, so picture this. The date is September 13th, 1848. The place is Cavendish, Vermont. There's a railroad crew out there, blasting through rock, laying down new track. You know, it's just another tough, dangerous day on the job. But something is about to happen that's going to echo through the halls of medicine forever.
I mean, the event itself is so shocking, so utterly impossible to live through, that it brings up a question that still gets asked today. How in the world could anyone survive what was about to happen to this crew's foreman?
And that's really where our story kicks off, with an event that, by all accounts, should not have been survivable.
So, what actually went down? Well, Phineas, he's a 25-year-old foreman, and he's using this thing called a tamping iron. It's basically a big metal rod, we're talking 13 pounds and over 3 feet long, to pack gunpowder into a hole in the rock. But for a split second, he gets distracted. The iron scrapes against the rock, creates a spark, and boom! The gunpowder ignites, turning that tamping iron into a human missile. It shoots up, enters his left cheek, tears right through the front of his brain, goes behind his eye, and flies out the top of his head, landing almost 80 feet away.
Now here's the part that just blows everyone's mind. Phineas Gage wasn't killed. He wasn't even knocked out. The reports say he was talking and walking within minutes of having a giant metal pole shot through his skull. He even sat up in a cart for the ride into town to see the doctor. He survived. But the man who survived wasn't the same man who showed up for work that morning.
And that leads us to the real mystery of his case. See, his body recovered, but his mind? Well, his friends and family started saying he was no longer Gage.
The change was just staggering. Before the accident, Gage was the model employee. He was efficient, capable, well-liked by his men. He had a well-balanced mind, as they said back then. But after the accident, his own doctor, John Harlow, described someone totally different. He was now irreverent, profane, impatient. He couldn't stick to a plan. The man they knew was just gone.
Dr. Harlow really nailed it with this observation. He wrote, "The balance between his intellectual faculties and animal propensities seems to have been destroyed. It's like the part of him that made him polite and dependable was just erased."
And it all comes down to this haunting, famous line from the people who knew him best. He looked like Phineas, he walked and talked like Phineas, but he was, simply, no longer Gage. His entire personality seemed to have been ripped right out of him.
So what on earth happened? Well, as awful as it was, Gage's tragedy was a light bulb moment for science. His injury gave us the first real key to unlocking the secrets of a part of the brain we knew almost nothing about, the frontal lobe.
So, real quick, what is the frontal lobe? The best way to think about it is as the control panel for your personality. It's the CEO of your brain. It handles all the complex stuff. Your judgment, how you act in social situations, emotional control, problem solving. It's the part of your brain that makes you, well, you. And that's exactly what that tamping iron destroyed in Phineas Gage. Now, back in 1848, the doctors could only guess at the exact damage. But today, using CT scans of Gage's actual skull, which was preserved, scientists have made these incredible 3D models showing the exact path of that iron rod. And they confirm it. The damage was almost entirely to his left frontal lobe.
And this is why he's so important. This is the big takeaway. The case of Phineas Gage was the first real piece of evidence that different parts of the brain do different things. We call it the localization of brain function. Before him, the brain was basically a black box. After him, we had our first major clue. Personality seems to live right up front.
But, like with any famous story, the tale of Phineas Gage got a little exaggerated over the years. It turned into more of a legend. So it's really important to separate the man from the myth.
The legend you've probably heard in a textbook somewhere paints this really grim picture, that he became a drunken bully who couldn't hold down a job, that he showed himself off in a circus as a freak, and that he died broke and all alone. It's a heck of a story, but it's not the whole story.
The reality is actually a lot more nuanced and in a way kind of amazing. Yeah, he was profoundly changed, but it seems he actually made some degree of social recovery.
He managed to work for years as a stagecoach driver in Chile, a job that takes a ton of structure and social skill. And he didn't die alone. He spent his last years with his family in San Francisco.
So when we talk about his legacy, it's not the myth of the circus freak. His real legacy is the incredible scientific door he accidentally kicked open for the rest of us.
Just think about what we learned from one man's skull. His case was the first dramatic proof that specific parts of the brain have specific jobs. It was the first time we directly linked the frontal lobes to personality and decision-making. I mean, Phineas Gage's accident basically laid the groundwork for modern neuroscience. He's still a cornerstone case study that every single medical and psychology student learns about.
And that leaves us all with a pretty deep and honestly kind of unsettling question that his case forces us to ask. If a physical injury to a piece of your brain can completely change who you are, if it can just delete one personality and write a new one, then where does the self, the you that you think of as you, actually live?